computer. Hello, everybody. It's Mary Lynn of Hard at Work, and I am here with Raj. And we are in the process of just live streaming on Facebook, my Hard at Work page, business page. And we're going to have this wonderful conversation with Raj about what he does and how he helps people. Um, it should be a lot of fun. There we are. So I think there's a little bit of a delay though. And I guess I'll have to figure out how to do okay. There we are. Can you see it, Raj?
Yeah, it says recording, and I'm assuming it's live streaming as well. So
Right. It is. Okay, welcome, Raj. I'm so excited to have you on board with me today at the. You can't hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Welcome, Raj, and have to do it again. I don't know what happened with that. But anyway, welcome, Raj, again. And I hope that you can be able to just maybe introduce yourself, tell everybody kind of what you do and what you're offering, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. I love the theme of your podcast. And yeah, I'm just so happy to be here. I think this world needs a lot more kindness and gratefulness as well. So thanks for that. So about me, my name is, again, Raj Subrameyer. I'm a tech career strategist. So I help people specifically in the tech industry to find their dream job and become successful leaders in the industry. I've been in the tech space for over 15 years now. And yeah, so I've been helping a lot of people in the past 3 years. So I run my own company, I do my own coaching. So that's the main part of my job. Couple of other things I do apart from coaching people is I speak at a lot of conferences and private events for companies. I speak on various topics: leadership, motivation, productivity, mindfulness, mental health, which a lot of people do not take seriously. And we can probably talk more about that as well. But yes, I talk about those topics. And finally, I write for a lot of tech companies and large publications as a contributing writer. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I live in Chicago, and yeah, I've been loving what I do so far. Yeah, of course, we can get into my backstory and stuff, but this is kind of what I do for now.
Right. I know we talked. I'm not moving. We talked about you before and about what you offer, and I was very intrigued with what you're doing and how you're helping people. And I don't know what's going on. There we go. So I was just very intrigued what you offer and what you do. And when you were saying the tech space and has a lot of problems right now, I was a little bit surprised because, as when we were talking, when I first started out, that was tech space sort of got it about having more kindness in the workplace, right? And so as you were sharing that, I was just like, okay, great. So anyway, I'd like to hear a little bit more like some of your challenges. I know you'd help people transition their careers to have more passionate in their life and more embrace what they do and what they enjoy to have in their life. So anyway, maybe you could just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, great question. So let's first set some context for the viewers and listeners, right? Because they need to understand why I do what I do. And then
Mm-hmm.
we get into some of the
Absolutely.
why some of the obstacles people are facing in the tech space, and that's why I'm here helping them. So a quick 3 minute background story about me is I grew up in the southern part of India. And of course, from my thick Texas accent, you already know I probably was not born in the United States. So I am the younger of the two kids. I have an older brother who's 5 years elder to me. And then from a young age, I had this inferiority complex that I wasn't good enough. I didn't matter. I wasn't smart enough. That's
Mhm.
because my dad, since he was born, he studied in scholarships. And then my brother, on the other end, he's a super genius. Like he has 3 masters and a PhD. And then there I was, the average Raj who didn't do well in academics, sports, dating, you name it, right? I was pretty average. And you may relate to this based on you working with a lot of clients as well. When you grow up in an Asian family, one of the main things which is pushed upon you is academics. And it's a thing with Asian folks. And
Mhm.
it was the same thing for me as well. So from a young age, I was always compared with my brother and other overachievers around me.
Mhm.
And because of the comparison, I always try to live up to people's expectations, wanted to be like them. But
Mhm.
every time I tried doing that, I ended up getting disappointed because I could never, ever live up to people's expectations.
Yeah,
And
measure up.
the constant struggle of doing it again and again and again throughout my childhood made me get into this shell. I felt like an outcast. I developed this fear of rejection. I had anxiety. I went through
Mhm.
depression. I was overstressed. I was going through low self-esteem, severe body image issues. I grew up as a fat kid and I was ridiculed for my weight. So all these things kind of continued throughout my childhood, right?
Mhm.
And no one ever thought anything big of me. They actually wrote me off saying, okay, this guy is not going to do anything great in the future. So that was kind of my childhood
Mhm.
brought up, right? Bring
Mhm.
childhood days. But during my second year of my undergrad, something happened. So I still remember this vividly because I was in my study room,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden I can hear my chest pounding, and then I had such severe pain. I thought I was having a severe heart attack, but
Mhm.
now I know I was having a severe panic attack, my first one. And so I sat down, and I could feel the pain in my chest slowly moving towards my head because all these feelings of suppression, of being compared to other people, and all these fears of being ignored, fear of anxiety, all these things bottled up and then just exploded. And I
Mhm.
sat there for 2 hours sobbing. And during the time, I actually had got this epiphany that all this while, I was living a life for other people. I was
Mhm.
letting other people's opinions be my reality, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And in the process of pleasing other people, I was actually disappointing myself. And that's when I realized, man, I wasted the first 20 years of my life. And you know what? I'm going to change this. Screw this. I'm not going to care about other folks. You know what? I matter. I'm good enough. I'm going to strive for greatness. I can carve my own identity. And that's when the whole transformational journey started, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Fast forwarding 25 years to now, I help people who are in the same situation like me, who are the underdogs, who are written out by society, who think they're not good enough, but they have the skills needed to
Right.
get to the next level. So, in terms of the clients, in terms of the people I help, they are usually the underdogs who are in the mid to senior level positions in the tech industry, who are waiting to get out of their shell, who are waiting to go to the next level, but do not know how. Because mainly that brings me to the obstacles, right? Common
Right.
obstacles people face in the tech space. The first common obstacle why people come to me and what people face currently in the tech industry is this, which is they have limiting beliefs that they're not good enough, right?
Mhm.
And this is
Mhm.
because of multiple reasons. One
Right.
is, of course, because of the pandemic, there are millions of jobs which have been lost. People feel anxious about their job security. They feel stuck in their career and they're looking for change. They're looking to advance in their career, but they don't know how to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I know
Yeah.
that situation because I came as an immigrant in 2008. And a week after I came to the US, the recession started.
Mm.
And finding jobs as an immigrant was so hard.
Yeah.
And to cut a long story short, from beginning of 2009 till end of 2009, I applied for 1,293 jobs,
Yeah.
right? And I got 4 callbacks from it, and I converted one job. So I know how it feels when you really want a job and you cannot get it, right?
Right.
So the first obstacle is the limiting beliefs, because a lot of people have the skill set, but they don't know how to, get out of their way
Right.
and actually advance in their career. And
Mm-hmm.
that's mainly because there's a lot of competition, because as I was saying, there's a lot of jobs which have been lost. And because of the competition, there's one key thing which comes into play, which is your personal brand.
Right.
Because the tech industry has changed vastly since the past 5 years. Before, it was all about your degree, it was about your specialization. But right now, the name of the game is jack of all trades and being master of none. You need to know a lot of things about various
Right.
technologies, because technology is changing so rapidly. So first obstacle is their limiting beliefs, and that's because they don't have their
Right.
personal brand. They haven't built their personal brand. And we could always talk about how to build your personal brand if you want, but that's the first obstacle. The second obstacle I've often faced is, as I was saying, I help leaders in the tech industry to become more effective leaders.
Right.
One of the biggest problems they face is managing work and life,
Mm-hmm.
because they spend so much time at work
Right.
that they start neglecting their life, personal life, and their mental and physical health.
Mm-hmm.
One thing leads to another,
Right.
and they suffer severe burnout.
Mm-hmm.
So mental health is something which is not prioritized by a lot of people in the tech space, because this is what's happening right now, and this is the reality we live in. So all the big five companies, Amazon, Facebook, Google,
Mm-hmm.
um, Apple, what they do is they pay the employees a lot. They give them free food at work. They have free gym and all those things, so that they can work 16 hours and be in the building, right? And
Yeah.
then by the time they come home, literally they have probably an hour max. Even their buses, the free transportation to their houses is hooked up with Wi-Fi, so that they can work in the bus, in the vans they're provided for free shuttle service, right?
Right.
So it's like uh it's like raising chickens. You give food, fattening up, and then you cut their heads, right? That's what is actually happening. And mental health is a real issue, and I've
Right.
gone through personal experience where I had to go to the ER, and it's a whole story. I could talk
Right.
about that as well, in terms of why I'm a big proponent of mental health. So two obstacles would be the mindset to change,
Mm-hmm.
and the second obstacle would be um, not prioritizing their life, and because of that, the mental and the physical health suffers.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say though that Raj, that the mental health issues aren't just in the technical world, it's in all the little jobs or sectors around that, you know. Yeah, I would gather that probably the tech is the biggest. But when you're talking about mental health and how we all seem to work a lot of work, and then we stop and say, okay, I still got to do this and this and this and this, and I'm kind of out of time, you know.
Right. And
So,
a fun fact is, researchers found that people spend about one third of their life at work.
mhm,
About 90,000 hours are
right,
spent at work. That's a lot of time away from your family.
right,
So that's why you need to be really careful on what you do at work, because not everything is important, right?
mhm,
You need to prioritize what you're working on, why you are working on, why you're doing what you're doing, and also make sure your personal life does not suffer. Because you can earn how much ever you want, and but at 40, if you suffer a stroke, then you have the rest of the life which you cannot live. So,
Yeah.
normally. So people, have to start shifting their mindset, because 60% of the people in the tech space suffer burnout in some shape or form. And that's why
Hmm.
it's really, really important to focus on your mental health.
Right. Right. And so what do you think that you were talking about the timeline? How much time do you think they should dedicate to their personal life? Because
Yeah.
that's
So
part of the mental health challenge, right? Is, setting our boundaries, I guess, to say, okay, that's work and I'm done. And I have my family and I have other things I want to do in my life.
yeah, so that's a great question. And you also kind of segued into what I help people with as
Hmm.
well, setting boundaries. I
Right.
think that's where it actually starts. It's hard to say exactly how much personal time you need to have, because people have different roles, different jobs. A person who's a doctor or a nurse may have different working hours than a person who has a normal 9 to 5 job,
Right.
right? So
Right.
it's hard to quantify how much time, personal time exactly you need to have. But that being said, you need to start setting boundaries.
Hmm.
So you have to you need to have some strategy in place in terms of how you're going to navigate the space of work and life, especially right now in the middle of a pandemic where everyone is pretty much working from home, and
Hmm.
you have kids running around, you have your pets running around, and then there's a lot of chaos, and then you have chaos at work as well, and you're stuck in between two worlds.
Right.
So that's why you need to start setting boundaries. And here are like quick 2 3 strategies for your audience, so that they can implement and these quick things to help them be more productive and more get more mental space.
Hmm.
So the first thing is you need to do daily and weekly planning. So what do I mean by that? The first thing, when you wake up in the morning, do the simple exercise. Take a paper and pen and write down all the things you think you need to accomplish that particular day. Just let it flow, right?
Hmm.
And then what you're going to do is assign a number between 1 to 10 for all those things which you just listed in terms of your priority.
Hmm.
And your motto in life is to finish the top 3 things which you have listed that
Hmm.
day, period. Because this is the thing, you cannot finish everything because there's only so much time and so
Hmm.
much mental capacity. So your priority should be to finish the top 3 things for that particular day. And then I practice what is called deep work. And I also highly recommend the book by the same name. It's by Cal Newport. It's called Deep Work. They talked about doing time box sessions on cognitively demanding tasks.
Hmm.
And so just block your calendar to work on those 3 priority tasks, right? It could
Right.
be a 1 hour time block, for 1 hour time block each for the 3 things, or it could be, say, 4 time blocks for the 3 things, whatever
Right.
feels comfortable to you. And then at the end of the day, do a quick 3 4 minute retrospective in terms of what have you accomplished that particular day.
Hmm.
And whatever you haven't accomplished that particular day gets carried over to the next day, to the next to do list for the next
Right.
day's to do list, right? So that's your daily planning. Then you do the weekly planning, where just carve out like 15 20 minutes during the weekend
Hmm.
to review what's coming up in the next uh, 1 to 2 weeks in terms of important meetings, important presentations, important deadlines, important tasks for your work and personal life. And then
Hmm.
start blocking your calendar accordingly. So, for example, so now we're doing this podcast,
Yeah.
and just before this, I went for a 4 mile run, right?
Hmm.
And I blocked my calendar so that I don't get booked. So that's how you actually balance your schedule, because I already knew I have to be on this podcast. So
Right.
if I want to be prepared and ready for this podcast, I need to be showered and then at least look decently clean on the podcast before my run. So all those things were planned during the weekend. So do the daily planning, then
Yeah.
do the weekly planning, right? And
Hmm.
then make sure you practice deep work, which means doing focused work and in an uninterrupted manner. No Facebooking, no messaging.
Yeah.
Focus on that one particular task. And that's how you can finish a lot of tasks in a shorter amount of time and be more productive, right? So there
Hmm.
you go. Quickly, those 3 strategies are going to help you. And so I think that's what people need to do, and setting boundaries.
Hmm.
So you should you should set the precedents that after 8 p.m. you don't reply to emails. When you
Mm-hmm.
stop replying to emails after 8 p.m., for once or twice people say, hey, I'm expecting an email, but you would say, no, after 8 p.m. it's family time and I don't do it.
Yeah.
Once you keep repeating that, then people know, oh, okay, he's not available from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So
Right.
let's not do it. The problem comes when people start replying at 2 a.m. to emails, then they do start setting that expectation that you will reply at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., right? So
Right.
setting boundaries is really, really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking, I was laughing about the 2 a.m. thing because sometimes I wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Well, I start replying emails and doing all this stuff. And, but I know they're not going to reply to me until whatever they're at work.
Right.
So, which is fine. But it's, it's like, okay, maybe just put it in draft. And then when you're ready, you can just send it, in, in the time slot that you said you would get back to them by. Right.
Yeah, and you can use that feature in the email where you can delay the emails. You can schedule emails to go at a particular time
Yeah.
because each email has that feature. So if at all you have distributed teams across the world and you
Yeah.
have to reply or send an email at 3 a.m. US time, you could schedule that email to go out at 3 a.m. well in advance, like at 6 p.m. that
Yeah.
particular day. You don't have to
Right.
physically be active. Technology is already there. You just have to
Yeah.
make use of it.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think, as you were talking, I tend to have days. I got into this a long time ago, so that like Mondays is my writing, blogging days. And
Right.
I usually do that maybe within the first, till about noon. And then if I haven't got it done, then I'll just leave it and go back to it later because I'm single. I can do that. I don't have a bunch of kids running around. So, and then, Tuesdays, this day and Wednesday. So I've gotten into like an editorial uh, calendar, if you will, of things what I'm doing each day. Because I had a job where I was working in an office and it was so overwhelming. I said, okay, Mondays is this day, Tuesdays is this day, Friday is this payroll. And, that's how I got into it. So, it just, from you said the overall, what you explained, what we should do for our boundaries and what we could
Mhm.
timeline. But if you're going finer detail for a lot of solo entrepreneurs, such as myself, is that we still have to finally define that. Okay, what are
Yeah.
we doing? So that we're not just reading and wandering around because we
Yeah.
really don't have any accountability to anybody, right?
As
So,
you said, I do the exact same thing. Where
yeah,
Wednesdays are my writing days, Thursdays are my recording days for videos.
yeah,
Then Friday, I do stuff related to my book and coaching programs.
right.
So if people have to reach out to me or want to schedule meetings, usually it'll be only Monday and Tuesday or second half of Friday because I actually um, block time.
Mhm,
That's when only when you block time you do your best work, and you have
right,
to. This is what I tell my clients: you have to treat your time as your baby.
right.
It's so valuable because once you lose time, you cannot get it back. So you have to make sure you prioritize your work within a given time because
Mhm,
it's really, really valuable. People have this wrong notion that money is the one which is really important, but actually it's the time
mhm,
which is actually the most important, right?
mhm,
Because within a given time, if you use it correctly, you can make more money within a short period of time. But with money, yeah, you can get it whenever you want, but time is the one you cannot control. Money,
right.
you can control it in terms of, okay, you know what, I have to make this kind of revenue goal, so let me do these tasks. But
Yeah.
if you set 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., after 12 p.m., you're not going to get 11 a.m. back, right? Once last is always last. Money is not like that. So that's what I tell people.
Yeah.
Time is your most valuable asset, not the money. If you treat time with respect and then use it wisely, then
Mhm.
money is a byproduct of it. You are going to get money, but you need to first start with time and then work your way to getting money. So that's how we need to start thinking about time management.
Yeah. So what do you think are some of the biggest obstacles of your clients right now that you work with?
So in terms of the obstacles would be, first thing is, yeah, building your personal brand, which we kind of covered, right?
Yeah.
Because say, for example, there are 1,000 people applying for one particular job.
Mm-hmm.
What is going to make you stand out from other people?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a master's in computer science, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Why should they pick you compared to other people? That's where
Mm-hmm.
your personal brand comes into picture. It's about all these small extra things you do, which builds your brand, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
what I tell my clients, that it's like buying your favorite brand of body wash. Say, for example, you're using a particular brand of body wash for say 8 years. There are various reasons you're using that brand of body wash, because of the price, because of the packaging, because of the fragrance, because of the durability. When you put it down, it doesn't break or open up, and because of the color, right? There's so many facets of
Right.
that particular body wash, which makes you keep going to it again and again. And our careers are the exact same thing. It's different facets of you, which helps to build your personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
So when clients come to me, they have all these skills, but they haven't shown the world. They haven't packaged that up and put that out in the world saying, hey, I'm a really skilled person. I've done these things, but I just haven't started talking about it. So
Yeah.
my job is to tap into their inner skills and
Mm-hmm.
inner stories and bring that to light, and help them build their personal brand through LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn is where all the tech folks hang out. So people watching or listening, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, after this podcast episode, go and create a LinkedIn profile, because that's where everything happens. In fact, my
Right.
last 4 jobs was from LinkedIn. So
Right.
it starts with building your brand on LinkedIn, and there's so many different strategies on LinkedIn itself you can do to
Mm-hmm.
stand out from the crowd. Then continuous learning. So say you have a master's in, I don't know, business administration. Start taking extra courses on different technologies. So when you apply for jobs, those extra courses are going to come into picture when they're making their decisions. And
Right.
then don't don't uh think twice about investing in yourself, because only when you invest in yourself, that's when magic happens. Because there are a lot of people. So say, for example, me, I've been through the industry, I've been through various roles in the tech industry, and I've failed, I've succeeded. So I can give you the golden nuggets of how to build your brand and stand out from the crowd. You don't have to do this alone. And that's why people come to me, and whatever I've learned in 15 years, I packaged it into a 3 month, 6 month, or a 1 year program, right?
Right.
So invest in yourself. That is something which is really important. And those are some things you could do to build your personal brand. So that's the biggest challenge, I would say, which I've seen, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a common theme
Right.
I've seen across clients, no matter whether they're in the mid-level position or level in their career, or senior position in their
Mm-hmm.
career. But yeah, the brand is something, and maybe another thing could be communication,
Mm-hmm.
and how you express your skill sets to another person, how you express your value to another person.
Mm-hmm.
That may be the second obstacle, right? Because everyone needs to have an elevator pitch.
Right.
If you have only 1 minute, how do you provide value? How do you sell yourself to the other person so that you can get their number? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not talking about dating here, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about a professional network. But the point is, what you can think of it like dating, because your first impression is going to be the best impression. So in that 1 minute, how are you going to put across your value and how you can serve people?
Right.
For example, I'm a tech career strategist. I help people to be successful in the tech industry and become effective leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
So bam, so that's it, done, right? And then you know the value. So communication is the second piece which I work on as well. So personal brand and communication, I think those are the two things which people need big help with, and I help them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it's important. It's like dating, it's just, but it's also about engagement. Yeah, okay, great. Get your profile, get it set up, but and jump in and engage with other people.
Right.
Like comment, ask questions, because then that's to me where the juice is. That's where people actually get to know you and can recommend or refer you or introduce you to somebody that can maybe help you, right? It's just like
Right.
Sujal introduced us, right?
Right.
Because she knows I've had this podcast running. I've had her on my show twice. And, we talk about other topics, other things, So I think it's all a part of it. And am I going to give you a job? Not necessarily, but maybe from somebody watching this podcast, they'll say, hey, Raj, I could really use your help. And so I'm sort of like the promoter, helping to empower other people to get their message or the story out. So that's how I sort of think I help people. But, in your saying about LinkedIn, I totally agree with you is that, we need to be active. Yeah, get a profile. But if you can't be active, then you're not in the playground playing. You're just
Exactly.
you're just being a post.
Yeah. There's so many strategies with LinkedIn where
Yeah,
you can also find out about jobs and companies which haven't been advertised yet.
yeah,
And everything you put on your LinkedIn profile is SEO information and it's indexed by Google. So what I mean
right.
by that is when recruiters say search for a software developer, for example,
Hmm.
they have these softwares which actually look for particular keywords associated with that particular job, and
Right.
it scans through your LinkedIn profile. So if you don't have those specific keywords, then you're going to get overlooked.
Right.
So first you have to start with updating all the information on your LinkedIn profile, because
Mhm.
everything is rich SEO information, search engine optimization information, right? And
Yeah.
then you have different strategies where you can reach out to people and proactively make people come to you
Right.
instead of following the normal way of applying for jobs where you go to job sites, put your resume and stuff. And also you can generate your resume right from LinkedIn as well. And
Hmm.
that's the beauty of it. In
Right.
fact, I talk about a lot of these strategies in my book as well, right? So,
Hmm.
and I also have free templates and worksheets which people can download.
Hmm.
But yeah, co- coming back to your point, yeah, LinkedIn is definitely where it is, and you can find a
Hmm.
lot of opportunities there.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Raj, I so enjoyed our conversation. Maybe we'll do it another time. Continue on, um, carrying on about talk a little bit more what you work with people and how you work with them. And so, is there any final tips that you'd like to share before we close off?
So maybe a couple of tips, and not to sound like a broken record here, the
No, no.
personal brand is the number one thing which is going
Right.
to make you stand out from the crowd. And we already covered that in depth in this episode. So
Yeah.
make sure you start working on it. The second thing you want to remember is it's never too late to make a change.
Hmm.
Just take me, for example. For the first 30 years of my life, I was living a life under false identity. I was living a
Yeah.
life for other people. And then
Hmm.
slowly and gradually, I started making this transformation. It was step-by-step process. It didn't magically happen, but it's never too late to make a
Right.
change. So if you are in an unhealthy relationship or bad job, toxic work environment, you have the power to make a change. You have the power to do
Hmm.
something great for your life, because no one else is going to do it for you. It's
Right.
you who's going to do it for you. So keep that in mind, that it's never too late to make a change. And the last and final thing I would say is be consistent. The problem with the majority of human beings who live on this earth is they're not consistent. Let's take, for example, going to the gym.
Hmm.
Everyone on January 1st would decide, I want to go to the gym. What do they do? They buy new set of merchandise, amazing fancy t-shirts and shoes. They spend like $400 on a gym membership, a super cool gym with all the facilities. They start doing it. They start going to the gym for the first week. Then second week, you start getting tired. And third week, you say, you know what? This is not for me.
Hmm.
And people then stop going to the gym, and in sailing in the same boat. They're always overweight. They always keep thinking about making the change, but it never happens because they're not consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency is the key. So based on research, if you want anything to become a habit, you should at least do it for 30 days, even whether you like it or not. And
Yeah.
that's when it becomes part of who you are. Like brushing your teeth. Why do you brush your teeth? Because you've been doing that since your childhood, and then you need to brush your teeth and you know what the consequences are.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, if you do not work out, yeah, now you won't feel it. But when things hit you, then you'll know that, man, I should have
Yeah.
done this a lot earlier. So to summarize, it'll be three things which are going to skyrocket your career, skyrocket your personal health, and skyrocket your life, which would be personal brand, building your personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it's never too late to make a change, and finally be consistent. And those
Mm-hmm.
are some of my tips for all of you.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you, Raj. It's very enjoyable having you on the conversation, and I'm sure that many people will kind of say, okay, if it's not too late, maybe I can start doing one thing that'll help me change my life, right? And
Yep.
for me, it's always been about self-care. So if you're not looking after yourself, you're not serving anyone else. So, but thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it. And we'll talk to you very, very soon. Thank you. And in ending, I'm just going to say we all need to be kinder to ourselves and kinder to each other because that's all we have. So thank you.
And quickly, one thing I wanted to mention was if people want to reach out to me,
Yeah.
make sure you hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm super active on LinkedIn. I'm 24/7 available under Raj Subrameyer. And for people who are listening today, I want to do something special. So for anyone who buys my ebook, I'm anyone who buys my paperback, I'm going to give them an ebook for free. You just have to send me a screenshot to my email address, raj@rajsubra.com. And finally, I have an online shop where you can get cool merchandise like this. If you
Okay.
use the coupon code greatness, I mean grateful,
Grateful.
you're going to get 40% off. And again, maybe, yeah, you're going to put
Yeah.
in the show notes. But yeah, that's something I just wanted to
It'll be in
give
the
to
show
people.
notes. Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, if you want to reach out to me about mindset or anything, feel free to do so and check out my book as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Raj. Okay. Take care. Bye bye.